Europa League. Yeah, this season's Europa League is very entertaining, just like the Champions League. You know, look, let's get straight to the talking point. Manchester United, they traveled to Portugal to play against Porto, FC Porto, and this is the match that it has so much significance. It's a classic game. Considering these two sides have met in the past before, especially in the Champions League, and now they are meeting in the Europa League. I think this is for the first time in history. And yes, Manchester United rescued a point at FC Porto in the Europa League, which they have got Harry Maguire to thank for that stoppage time header. What an entertaining game it was, to say the least. Eric Ten Hag's side, broke through the defenses, of the home keeper and the skipper Diogo Costa, through Marcus Rashford as well as Rasmus Højlund, and the Dane actually making his first start of the season with the goal. That was actually great for him, and that will be a massive confidence booster for him. And back from the Dragons, to level before the break, courtesy of the headers by Pepe as well as Sami Omoro Dion. And shortly after the restart, Omoro Dion's second looked to be inflicting a disappointing defeat. I mean, imagine coming from 2-0 down. But I guess this is no longer the Manchester United that was once feared, once upon a time. Things have really changed. And every team has got the right to feel confident to defeat Manchester United. And Porto did that. Almost did that. Despite the fact that Bruno Fernandes was dismissed for the second game running, even though his red card against Tottenham was overturned, and with the visitors down to 10 men, all appeared to be lost. However, there was, resolve shown to earn another draw in the competition following the home clash with FC Twente. And the substitute Harry Maguire showed his aerial progress, from set pieces with the header in the dying seconds to actually make it 3-3. It was a 6-goal thriller in this particular encounter. Let's also get straight to what happened in the first 45 minutes, despite the goals. The first 45 minutes was pretty topsy-turvy. It was like a pretty topsy-turvy opening, you know what I'm saying? And you just could not take your eyes off the first half. And it was actually the Red Devils who actually drew first blood after weathering the early storm, because Porto pressed from the start, forcing Andre Onana into action inside a couple of minutes when Galino actually fired in a shot, but they were undone only in the 7th minute of the game. Shout out to another Dane, man, the Dane, Christian Eriksen. He played a wonderful pass to Marcus Rashford. And guess what Marcus Rashford did? He danced into the box with purpose, and it only took a low drive, which it was actually too weak for, a weak right hand from, Diogo Costa, the Porto goalkeeper, but take nothing away from Marcus Rashford. That was a well-taken goal. And boosted by some valiant blocks at the other end, Ten Hag's men continued to threaten going forward. And Porto's defense twice almost, put their own net in a quick succession. Zepedro's touch to Rashford's cross looked like it was going in, and from a corner, a clearance cannoned off a defender and landed off target. So you could tell that, Manchester United were actually showing some real purpose. They were actually showing some real intention to actually win this game, to actually get all 3 points. However, a few minutes later, you would think that, it was about to happen. It was 2-0. Eriksen and Rashford set up Højlund again on the left-hand channel, and then the Denmark striker's shot was ineffectively handled by Costa once again, and the ball clearly crept over the line before it was actually hooked away. So it was actually another enterprising run by Rashford, which led to Costa's strong hand diverting away, but United were actually looking pretty decent. They were looking pretty good. You know what I'm saying? However, from that particular moment in time, the mood just turned. It just turned around. The Moroccan defender, Nosser Mazraoui, headed the ball towards his own goal. Just heading the ball towards his own goal. And which actually forced Onana to actually come out, into an evasive action. And the ball then dropped kindly for Pepe, the Brazilian, who was actually alert to the rebound. And the Brazilian, was able just to half the deficit. And then 7 minutes later, Omoro Dion planted a stooping header high into the net by ensuring that he was the first to actually teasing by João Mario. And they were back at square one, level pegging. João Mario has actually had a promising career. From Benfica, from Benfica to Inter Milan, from Inter Milan to West Ham, from West Ham to back to Benfica, and then now he's at FC Porto. So yeah, pretty much of a promising career. Not bad from the Portuguese winger, And look, back to the game. It was 2-2, and despite the fact that we can say there was a shift in momentum, Amad Diallo also had an attempt that was deflected out for a corner. And then Costa smuggled a Casemiro effort behind Højlund, and which just got a touch to a Bruno Fernandes cross. And yet another bold dribble by Rashford unfortunately ended with him being crowded out without even electing to shoot. And it was actually an entertaining yet a frustrating, interval for Manchester United, and the scores were actually level going into the break. Look, and then the second half, it was just like, look, I think that loss of Rashford, for the second half was actually a bit of a blow for Manchester United, considering his output, and an early scale was not actually needed when Francisco Moura actually went clean through to actually force a save out of Onana. And then soon afterwards, Pepe, burst past Lisandro Martinez to actually deliver a telling cross from the right. And, Omar Dion pounced to actually fire in emphatically for his second of the match. Hey, the Spanish boy was on fire, huh? The Spaniard was actually on fire, man. Omar Dion, he was actually on fire, man. He was having the time of his life, And there was actually still plenty of time to actually recover, but the substitute Alejandro Garnacho as well as Nosea Mazarau were actually kept out by Costa. And with Garnacho, on the follow-up for the second effort, he was just unable to actually convert from a tight angle. Yet Porto actually still retained a threat, and a defensive muddle allowed Omar Dion the chance for a hat-trick, only for Onana to push it away for safety. And then Ten Hag, from that particular moment in time, what do we see Ten Hag do from this point on? We saw Ten Hag actually, from that point, he did introduce Joshua Zirkzee, and he also introduced Anthony. But they did have a little bit of luck in front of goal, as even that header from Matthias de Ligt was actually straight at Costa, and then Casemiro's header hit Zirkzee, which was accidental though. However, all looked very lost. All lost from that particular moment in time, because 10 minutes from time, Fernandes tried to reach, Garnacho. He tried to reach Garnacho in the center, but, he raised his boot, and it was actually judged to be dangerous play. Same thing what happened against Tottenham, right? And with, Nuhen, Perez down, a second yellow card was actually shown, and the skipper was dismissed for a successive match, and this time it was actually a deserved red card, a deserved one indeed. No debate about that, no second doubts about that. That was a deserved red card, because that was dangerous play from Bruno Fernandes, returning to Portugal to actually face one of his former club's bitter rivals. You remember, Bruno Fernandes was on the books of, Sporting Lisbon, one of FC Porto's bitter rivals, right? And following that dismissal, we saw Dennis Gould, he could have actually wrapped it up, but give credit to Onana, in his way, he had to stop that ball because it proved to actually be a vital, block. However, Garnacho also forced a brilliant save out of Costa, showing his true colors. But the 10 men of Manchester United, surprisingly, they kept plugging away. And from that particular moment in time, after Garnacho, won a corner, Christian Eriksen's injury set piece was actually headed home by the substitute Eric Maguire, brought on with Johnny Evans in a reshuffle for the last 12 minutes. And it was breathless stuff, just breathtaking. And it was actually a good point in the circumstances, considering the fact that Manchester United looked down and out, and they were just lucky to walk away with the draw in this particular match. They were very lucky. So, Maguire, the lifesaver. Yeah, that's the headline.